For well over 1,000 years, the great civilization of ancient Egypt was silent. Their towering temples and hidden tombs were covered in a secret language that nobody could understand. The voices of the pharaohs, it seemed, were lost to time, but one discovery, a single fragment of a broken stone, would change everything. This is the story of how we decoded Egypt's secret language and finally heard the pharaohs' story in their own words. The silence didn't fall overnight. It was a slow fade. Toward the end of the 4th century AD, as the Roman Empire's power grew, the ancient temples of Egypt were closed, and the sacred knowledge of their language, hieroglyphs, began to crumble. The last known inscription was carved around 394 AD. After that, for nearly 1,400 years, the meaning of these beautiful, intricate symbols was a total mystery. Scholars and explorers would stare at temple walls and just guess. Most figured they were simple pictures or maybe magical symbols, but not a real complex language. The idea that this could be a sophisticated writing system, one that could capture poetry, laws, and history, seemed impossible. Egypt's entire story was locked away, and nobody could find the key. And then, the key was found completely by accident. It's 1799, and Napoleon's army is in Egypt. A group of French soldiers are doing fortification work in the port town of Rosetta when they find something buried in the ground, a large, dark slab of stone. An officer named Pierre-François Bouchard immediately saw it was something special. The stone was covered in writing in 3 different scripts. The bottom was ancient Greek, a language scholars could actually read. The middle was Demotic, a kind of cursive Egyptian script. And at the very top, the mysterious hieroglyphs. The Greek text explained that the slab was a decree issued by a council of priests in 196 BCE to honor King Ptolemy V. And it ended with a crucial line. The decree was to be written in 3 scripts, the sacred, the native, and the Greek. This was it, a linguistic trifecta. The Rosetta Stone, as it became known, was a parallel text. After the French were defeated, the stone ended up in British hands and has been in the British Museum since 1802. With copies of the text circulating across Europe, a frantic intellectual race began. In England, a brilliant physician and polymath named Thomas Young made the first critical steps. He figured out that the Demotic script was related to the hieroglyphs and even identified the phonetic sounds in a royal name. He cracked the door open, but the full solution was still just out of reach. The final breakthrough came from a young French scholar who had been obsessed with ancient Egypt his whole life, Jean-François Champollion. His deep knowledge of Coptic, the final stage of the ancient Egyptian language, gave him a secret weapon no one else had. His eureka moment arrived in 1822. He was comparing the hieroglyphs for the names of 2 rulers, Ptolemy and Cleopatra, which were famously written inside oval rings called cartouches. Building on Young's earlier work, he proved that hieroglyphs weren't just simple pictures, it was a complex hybrid system. Some signs were phonetic, representing sounds, a bit like our alphabet. Other signs, now called logograms, stood for whole words. And a third kind of sign, determinatives, were silent clues that helped clarify a word's meaning. It was a total game changer. The story goes that in September 1822, Champollion was so overwhelmed that he burst into his brother's office, shouted, "Je tiens l'affaire," "I've got it," and promptly fainted. He published his findings in a now famous letter, laying the foundation for modern Egyptology. The story of the Rosetta Stone is an incredible reminder of how much of our past is still out there, waiting to be rediscovered. If you're fascinated by the secrets of the ancient world, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into history. Champollion's breakthrough didn't just translate one text, it gave a voice back to an entire civilization. For the first time in centuries, we could read the stories, the histories, and the beliefs of the ancient Egyptians as they wrote them. The Rosetta Stone wasn't just a rock, it was the key that unlocked a lost world. It really makes you wonder, what other secrets are still buried out there, just waiting for their own Rosetta Stone?